Look, Ma, no script. Readers, there are now officially over 20,000 of y'all, and I'm so excited. Not gonna lie, there was a bit of a flip-flop when we initially reached 20,000, but now we're settled and we're over the mark, and I'm just so happy that you have decided that I'm worth your time. So to celebrate, I thought it would be fun to bring back my Q&A segment. If not for the long haul, then just for now. Until, I figure out how I'm going to continue on with the segment further. With that being said, I asked you on Twitter, and I asked you here on the channel, on the community tab for the channel, if you had any questions for me. So I chose the majority of them, and I'm holding off on a few of them, and I'll explain later on in the video. So with that being said, let's get started. Has the pandemic affected you and your job? Okay, short answer, yes. Long-ish answer, because I don't necessarily know how much I'm allowed to say. As of the recording of this video, 2 weeks ago, I was permanently laid off from my job that I started 3 months ago. And because of the conditions that led up to my layoff and the layoff itself, I'm currently in the process of taking legal action against my former employer. But because I did have a full 3 months under my belt, I do qualify for unemployment and have since filed. I just haven't gotten paid for it yet. And I'm just not the single case. There are a lot of people who have lost their jobs because of the situation that we're currently in that have filed for unemployment successfully and qualify for the extra $600 a week in the first round of stimulus, but just haven't gotten paid yet. And they certified like 2 or 4 weeks worth of money, but they just haven't gotten paid yet. So I unfortunately fall under that category. So right now I'm just being patient, waiting for the unemployment situation to catch up, and making videos and just trying to stay safe. What's your writing/creative process like? It all depends on what I'm doing, in all honesty. If I'm writing a regular Readus 101 script regarding my Monday and Wednesday videos, I usually look up what hot pop culture or geek culture topics are, trending to see what's going on, see if I have an opinion on them. And then when I get to an opinion that I like about the topic, I broaden it out, write a proper script for it. Sketches and actual works of fiction that I write usually start off with what-if ideas, which, if you don't know my process, you can click the video right there, one of my earlier Readus Writes videos on the topic. When it comes to my sketches, I come up with things like, for example, what if the Tumblr ban happened in real life, and I go on and create scenarios from there, which is a popular video that I did. Or when I really want to present a social justice topic, but I want to do it in a form that has that's more entertaining than just me standing in front of my entryway door with dramatic music playing, just going off, like I have done in the past. I will pretty much be like, what if I did this, but in the form of a PSA, which I've done twice now. Basically, I come up with ideas, put pen to paper, see what I can work with as far as like different ideas or different avenues to go with said topic, and then see which one is best for me as far as properly representing it in the form of a video. As far as things like my video essays are concerned, however, that's a bit more academic. I think of the coalition between the movie that I'm watching and the subject that I'm talking about, or the subject that the movie reminds me of, and then I do my research from there. Sometimes I start in the middle of it so that I can get what I'm immediately focused on pen and on paper immediately, so that I won't lose it. It won't be just like stored in the back of my mind and I immediately forget all the points I wanted to make. And I'm kind of the same way when it comes to my movie reviews and my movie analysis at the same time. Where did you come up with the idea for Huck? Okay, so Huck is inspired by an actual human being that I met one day at one of my old jobs. Like, I will never forget this situation. It was like my oldest and longest job of almost 6 years. I had an office, And this random middle-aged white dude just walked into our building and walked into my office and just introduced himself as, I don't know what his name was, I don't even remember. All I know is that he was a friend of my boss, wanted to ask him a favor, but he wasn't there, and he just insisted that he waited there until he arrived. And when I say he insisted that he waited there, I meant he insisted that he waited in my office until my boss arrived. And I texted my boss and I was like, hey, this so-and-so is here. He's waiting in my office until you arrive? How soon will you be here? And he didn't text this or anything like it, but in the text, I could just hear him go, ah, shit. Because in the text, he was like, oh, he's harmless, I'll be there in a minute, he probably needs some money, just hold tight, I'm about 30 minutes away. So after he gets there, old dude meets with my boss, and then my boss enters my office, closes the door, apologizes for his random appearance, and then asks me, can you take him home? He's only like 2 minutes away from the office. And in my head, I'm just like, what is happening? But outside, because at the time I wasn't fed up with my job and I wanted to keep it, I was like, all right, sure. And he could sense that I felt that way because, of course, I didn't say it like that. But he could sense that I felt that way, and he was just like, "I'm sorry, man. I wasn't expecting this to happen, and I have a lot of work to do. I'll definitely make this up to you." But yeah, the person that Huck was inspired by pretty much sounded that exact same way, dressed that exact same way, and even did the hey bit every time he thought that he wasn't being paid attention to, even though I'm listening and I'm hearing him talk, and it was ridiculous. So when I came up with Huck, I took those mannerisms and just created like this asshole. And I do still use him. The latest time I've used him recently was in my quarantine sketch. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check that one out. When reviewing something, how do you personally draw the line between your opinions/preferences and more universal takes on media? Okay, so this is a fairly easy one for me to answer. I go into, or I start watching said media that I'm reviewing or criticizing with no influence at all. One of the things that used to trip me up whenever I reviewed movies or like gave analysis of movies is that I let other people's opinions judge it for me. And I'm not talking about just movies, going to go see movies in general, or deciding to go see a specific movie in general. I'm talking about deciding to see other reviews before I see it myself to voice my opinion. I felt that upon me doing that, my opinion was watered down by other people's, and I started to sound pretty much like a broken record because everybody else voiced that same opinion. So what I did to pretty much make sure that my unique criticism and review was my own was that I stopped watching reviews in general, even from some of my favorite reviewers, and just because I knew that I was going to be a reviewer in as well, just went in with a blank slate, no manipulation or like way of thinking by any other reviewer ahead of time, and just went in with my own personal opinions and a blank slate, so that I knew that when I come out of it, whatever voice I supply will be my own. What future plans do you have for the channel? I personally want to revisit my What I Missed segment and the monthly streaming segment that I started early this year. The reason why there hasn't been a streaming What's New video for the months of March and April is because I wasn't necessarily happy with the turnout or like the amount of views that my January and February ones got. And I'm still in the process of figuring out what I can tweak to make it better. get it in better graces of YouTube's algorithm so more people can get exposed to it, as opposed to like my single topic videos that I usually do. I also want to do more Film Fridays and Anime Saturdays, especially now that there are no new movies to watch for my usual Friday videos. And I'm adjusting my schedule now that I have more time to focus on the channel because of my current situation with the pandemic to actually do that. My Prince of Egypt Film Friday video was a perfect start, and I had plans to do another Film Friday before the month of April was over, but I didn't. So we're going to wait until May. The same can be said of the 2 Anime Saturdays I have planned for April. Those are being pushed to May. I'm also possibly introducing a brand new segment / series later on this year, hopefully soon, that I'll be I'll be getting off the ground with a video essay as a soft pilot, so look out for that as well. If you got to write 12 issues for one DC / Marvel character, who would you choose and what would you do? So, I know you said 1, but I feel that they both receive short ends of the stick, so I'm going to adjust it and say 2. But I will say that there is a main character that I want to focus on first. So those 2 characters are both Marvel characters, and they're both X-Men characters, and they would be Scott Summers and Hank McCoy, aka Cyclops and Beast. I would love to do a 12-issue arc of those 2 because I feel that they've received the short end of the stick as far as proper representation, proper character development, and just constantly getting dicked around for the sake of other characters. So when it comes to comics, I believe there are 2 types of people. The people who blame the characters for the actions that they make in the comics, and the people who blame the writers who write the characters that act the way that they do in the comics. I am the latter. That's pretty much why I'm not necessarily on board the I hate Carol Danvers for Civil War II route that everybody else is on when it comes to that, because it's just like, look who wrote the book. And the same could be said for Scott Summers, because I will tell you, and I know that there are a few people who out there who are exactly the same way like me. Ever since Wolverine became popular and writers decided that because of his popularity he would be a better leader of the X-Men than Scott Summers, even though he has been written great up until that point, and even in a few more books. Grant Morrison's run and take on Scott Summers is also great. He has just been everybody's opinion about Scott is just the worst, and the Fox-Men movies didn't help either. I really think that Beast took the L on that as well, especially when it comes to like how his insensitivity has been presented in the past couple of years. I would use this 12-issue arc to pretty much remind readers of the blueprint that is Cyclops and Beast, and how great these characters are and can be if given a writer that actually cares about them. Especially Scott, because Scott has just been through the ringer too many times through writers that just don't care, that just don't care. Which comic book character would you like to give their own full-length feature film? Space Ghost. I want a full adaptation of the 6-issue origin miniseries that DC Comics produced for Space Ghost. It is so good. I know I pimped it out in my voiceover video that I did a week ago. I think it was a week ago. But I can give so much praise to that book any day of the week. It is really good. The art is great. The writing is great. I love it. And I would just love to see, not necessarily a panel by panel adaptation, because, you know, sometimes that works like how Zack Snyder did 300, but sometimes you have to throw a little bit extra in there just to make it unique. But yeah, just give me that adaptation of Space Ghost in theaters, and I will be there. And I'll be there day 1, day 0 actually. You know, once we can go back to movie theaters. If you could remake a cartoon into a live-action series, what would it be and why? The Proud Family, because I need to see how it works as an actual live action black sitcom. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Family Matters and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and what it brought to the table as far as like black sitcoms are concerned, but The Proud Family to me just screams it. And I know that some of the stuff that it did only worked in animation, but I would love to see how a lot of the stuff that it tackled, because of it only working in animation, would translate into live action. What does it mean for musicals now that the film adaptation of Cats is a thing? I mean, superhero movies survived Batman and Robin, so I honestly don't know. Also, I haven't seen the film adaptation of Cats yet because no. I won't even watch it on some so bad it's good type shit. I refuse to do that because that's just putting more money in its pocket. And I'm no. But in all honesty, I'm pretty sure musicals will be fine. Especially now that you have productions like Hamilton and Hadestown, the former, which in my opinion is also like the Broadway production of Cats, is more of an opera than a musical, which is a topic that I wanted to like actually bring up and talk about in a video essay. The difference between a musical and an opera, because let me tell you something, I saw the original production of Cats and there was no dialogue in it. And it was just like, oh, this is all singing and dancing? Isn't this what an opera is? If anything, it just proves that when it comes to the director of Cats, because I know he did the film adaptation of Les Miserables with Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe, he's a bit of a hit or miss. And a bit of a douche, but more along the lines of hit or miss. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? I am fighting every fiber of my being to not say a superpower that would legit just make my life easy AF from here onward. So I will go with my childhood answer and has been my answer ever since then and say telekinesis/telepathy. Growing up watching Star Wars, I always wanted to use the Force, and then seeing that translated to like other like superpowers and other like genres and everything like that, and that it was known by telekinesis and things like that. When I would see it anywhere else, it would be like, oh, okay, so it's not just limited here. And then I learned everything that you can do regarding using your mind and everything like that. You can use telekinesis to like lift yourself up to be able to fly. You can read people's minds, which I was read people's minds and manipulate them, which I was introduced to in the form of The Shadow, both the radio show and the movie. Any favorite YouTube channels right now? Yes, actually. Every time Natalie from ContraPoints posts something, I'm watching it. Every time Oliver Thorne from PhilosophyTube is posting something, I'm watching it. I watch a lot of Super Beer Bros, which is Gerard Khalil's Let's Play channel with Alex Fasciani and Brett Bayonne. I watch a lot of Jesse Cox's Let's Plays. I watch Markiplier on and off because he still supports PewDiePie, and I don't. So it's a mixed bag with him. And then of course there's all of my YouTuber friends, Matt Draper, Owen Likes Comics, Scott from NerdSync. I was introduced to Nando of Nando V Movies through the at-home Comic-Con that I participated in this past Saturday, and I've been watching a lot of stuff with him in it, and it's very good. It's very good. What happened to the collabs? Oh, they didn't go away. Scheduling. Scheduling is the main issue. That and mental health. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Scheduling and mental health. You know that musical or opera video essay I wanted to do? Well, I initially wanted it to be another collab with Lindsay Ellis, but she was busy. And by the time that she produced her Cats video, I was not producing anything big because I didn't feel like it, or my soul didn't feel like it, so I missed the boat on that. But I am actually in the process of getting a better idea of everybody's schedules that I want to work with, getting in touch with everybody that I want to work with, and getting some more collabs out, both for my channel and their respective channels, soon, actually, this year, actually. Now that I have a better grasp of what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how much time it's going to take for me to produce it, we're golden. Or at least silver. Yeah, silver's better. Now, there are some questions that I did intentionally skip, and the reason why I skipped them isn't because I hate your questions and I never want you to ask me questions again. No, that is not the reason. The reason why is because, to me, they felt more like video topics. And those questions are the following. What are some of your favorite Disney animated / live action films from their long history? What are your top 10 fictional crushes? What are your top 5 non-Avengers MCU movies? What are some of your favorite anime / manga series? And what are my top 5 shows currently streaming on streaming services? So yeah, if I didn't answer those specific questions, it's probably because I looked at them and was like, these could be good topics for videos, as a matter of fact. So expect those sometime relatively soon. As a matter of fact, readers, that's your homework assignment for the day. Now that we're over 20,000 subscribers here on the channel, write in the comment section below any topics you want to see me talk about in the near future. Regardless of what you want to see, I love to know your thoughts. If you want to help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description down below, where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give a one-time donation, you can find links to my PayPal and my Ko-fi account in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101, and thank you for all of your support, and for watching me all these years, and for getting us to 20,000 subscribers. Here's to 20,000 more. Class dismissed.